Hi, this is Steve with TronicsFix. Today I want to talk a little bit about a question that I get all the time. Some of you have PlayStation 4 game consoles that turn on and then turn right back off. Sometimes there will be a blue light for a second, sometimes it'll just turn on and turn right back off without much of a light at all, and there's a lot of confusion about what might be causing this. There are three things that usually cause this problem. The first thing is a faulty power supply. Now, a lot of you go out and buy a new power supply just to test this and see if that's the problem. And sometimes that's not a bad idea, but the one thing I want you to remember is it's hardly ever the problem. I would say probably maybe 5 to 10% of the time a power supply will fix this problem. Most of the time it's one of two things. The first would be faulty solder joints under the APU. Now the APU is a combination of the GPU and CPU, so the graphics processing and the central processing unit. And for some reason Sony had a problem with manufacturing these, and sometimes the solder joints underneath the chip are just bad. The third thing that can cause this is just a faulty APU. And that's the worst case because they are not replaceable this time. Technically they are replaceable, but there's also another chip that you have to replace with it, and there's no way to buy these chips as a set, and they're married to each other. So if you don't have both chips, you can't replace it, unfortunately. So here's a PS4 that has a problem of turning on and then turning right back off. I'm going to show you guys one of the ways to tell the difference between whether it's a bad power supply or something else. So let's take a look, let's power it on and see what it does. So you see there, it does power on just for a couple seconds. The blue light comes fully on, and I don't know if you could hear it, but the fan does start just a little bit. So now let's take a look at a PlayStation 4 that has a bad power supply and see what those symptoms are. And here we have the same PlayStation 4, only I've installed a power supply that I know is bad. So I want you to pay very close attention what happens as soon as I press the power button. If you notice, as soon as I press the power button, you hear it click on and then click off. Also, the light right here just comes on just for a split second. If you notice, that split second is a lot shorter amount of time than the other power supply that I had in there that was good. This is showing you the difference between a power supply problem and some sort of APU problem, whether it's the chip itself or the solder joints or something like that. So I'm going to show you guys one more time. So those are the main differences you see between a faulty power supply and something on the motherboard. So let's take a look and see exactly what I'm talking about on a real motherboard. Here we have a PlayStation 4 motherboard. I've zoomed in on the APU, also known as accelerated processing unit. It's a combination of CPU and GPU. And I'll lift up the chip now so you can see the solder balls. Now normally this chip is soldered onto the motherboard, so I've already unsoldered it and I've just set it back on there. So these chips don't come off this easily since they're soldered on normally. So underneath this chip, you're going to be able to see the solder joints on the motherboard and on the APU chip. And one of the problems when you have PS4s that turn on and then turn right back off is these joints between the chip and the motherboard, for whatever reason, they go bad. And that's one of the things that can cause your PS4 to turn on and then turn right back off. Now, unfortunately, this chip right here isn't replaceable. Technically, the chip itself, you can put a new chip on. The problem with that is there's several other chips on this motherboard that are matched to this chip. So unless you get a matched set, it's not going to do any good to replace this one. And that's the main reason that some of these consoles aren't fixable. It's not because we can't replace the chip, it's just because there's nowhere to buy matched sets of these chips. So unfortunately for now, unless we ever find a place to buy these chip sets, there's no way to actually fix this problem 100% of the time. I hope this video has helped you figure out a little bit more about what might be causing your PlayStation 4 to turn on and then turn right back off. If you need more help, feel free to leave me comments. You can also send it in to TronicsFix and we're more than happy to take a look at it for you and figure out what's going on with it. Unfortunately, sometimes these consoles are not repairable that have these symptoms. So please keep in mind, if you send it in, there is a chance that it's not going to be fixable. If you have any other questions or need more help, just leave a comment in the comment section below or go to our website, TronicsFix.com. Thanks guys, and have fun gaming!